On today's Try to Finish Something, I'm going to get to a Star Wars project for my room build in my build room, and I've got a lot of other things going on, and one of them is going to be of some excitement to you. I am going to be back on Odin of Odin Makes channel, not tomorrow, but next week. I'm working on a project with him that involves Book of Boba Fett. You're going to want to make sure you check that out and tune into his channel. Well, you should be watching it all the time, but not tomorrow, but next week for sure, because I'll be on there. And I say that I'm going to try and get to a project myself because it's hard to find the time. And I realize you're thinking, you got fired. You should have plenty of time to work on Star Wars stuff. My wife has different plans. I get a lot of, well, since you don't have a job, maybe you could dig some holes in the pasture and put up a fence around my horse arena. So what that means is, out there with the post hole digger, manually digging 29 3-foot holes and then lugging around bags of concrete to put those in. That's why I'm a total disaster. That's what I'm trying to do around my Star Wars projects. I've got a list of projects that I'm getting from that end of the house that are taking up my Star Wars time. But I do have a project I'm going to do today. I am going to work on another one of my lamps for my spider chandelier lighting system that I've been putting in my build room. Another broken down droid, kind of a la the Galaxy's Edge, the Mandalorian, and now Book of Boba Fett. They all have that same kind of aesthetic, and I'm going to build a new lamp, and I've got some cool parts to do it, and that's what I'm going to do on today's Try to Finish Something. So here it is, the APU jet engine combustion liner. I don't actually know what that means, but it's the piece that I won in an eBay auction a few months back when I was employed and could search eBay for things that I could later on Star Wars. I think they had this same liner in the latest Boba Fett when he went into the Pike Syndicate at Mos Eisley's. There, on the table. I think it might be the same one that they're using as a table lamp. I have other plans for mine. Well, kind of. These 3D printed parts are a failed helmet print that Sebastian Butterweck from one of my nerd groups on Facebook had sent me. It's some random helmet that he was printing and it turned out too small. I actually love getting failed prints from people and trying to find another purpose for them. I think the chin piece is going to wind up being the chest and the two parts of the visor will be the shoulders for my droid. One of the visors, I think, is like a second skin to the visor, and it has a notched out section. I'm going to rough up that edge and make it look like it was, I don't know, ripped off or damaged in some way. So at home, we've been watching the Netflix show Hoarders, and my Star Wars scrap and Greebly piles are now the family joke, as my wife keeps saying, "These shows pretty much look like your build room. I think you've got a touch of that hoarder thing going on." If I threw all of these treasures away, this droid wouldn't have a body. Okay, maybe a touch of hoarder, but can we call it something cooler like Greebly hoarder? It would make me feel a little bit better about my addiction. I'm just going to fill in some of these print lines, and I'm going to use the Van Oaks props tip for mixing mineral spirits with Bondo putty so that it thins out the Bondo a bit and you can cover large areas with a chip brush. If you haven't seen his video, I will put a link for it in my video description. It saves a ton of time and it works out great. Once covered, sanding time. I will sand until it's almost all just the color of the filament with just a hint of the Bondo color left. This one shell piece had some weird shimmery coating that really didn't like the Bondo and it just didn't stick very well, but I've sanded everything pretty smooth. I'm sure for those of you that have watched my channel for a while know what I'm making, but if you haven't seen my Droid Parts lamp, be sure to check out the video up there. My plan is I'm making a new addition to that droid lamp with a droid of my own creation.
I am just trying to figure out the configuration and going to make the collarbone out of a piece of PVC pipe, and I will use some wire to attach it all together. So I sprayed the print with a bit of primer filler and I sanded it again and decided not to paint it because I think that patchwork of color might help me get it to the look of the burner can head when I'm done assembling this. Nah. We'll see what happens. Hey, speaking of Book of Boba Fett and droids, the 8D8 droid that brings people into Boba's council room, is that the same droid that's roasting Rontos at my favorite food place inside Galaxy's Edge? You know, I love a good Ronto wrap. They're so good. I mean, it would be 25 to 35 years later after Book of Boba Fett, so it could be him. Sorry, I got way off on a total nerd tangent. Alright, here is more of that shop vac hose that I use for my power droid legs. I'm going to use this as my droid's neck. I'm just figuring out the attachments and assembly of everything. Just using a bunch of my greebly hoarding bits for things like arm joints and wire harnesses. See, if I didn't have that giant pile of crap from that phone operator cordboard, I couldn't sell the realism of my broken down droid parts lamp. I've got a maze of crap so that I can build cool Star Wars stuff. That's what I keep telling my wife anyway. And this piece is from Sebastian 2. I think these were the hinges for the droid helmet on the ears. It is now going to be a chest piece, and I'm going to attach it with Allen screws. When I bought the battery-operated fairy lights for my Baby Yoda in carbonite, they came in a 3-pack or in a single pack, and I bought the 3-pack. Dear God, you know, I actually might be a hoarder. I'm just threading the fairy lights behind the chest plate and all over the wiring and damaged areas of my droid light so that I can do this. All right, let's get some paint on this. All done with just washes and weathering. I'm going to use brown and black water-based oils. And I will also use a few different basic acrylics to add some different tones and colors so that it looks like it could belong with the burner can head. I'm basically just using the head as a reference and then dabbing on washes of color and then just dabbing it off. And this is all just a big game of patience, which I don't have a lot of. I'm going to cheat and I'm going to add a little bit of black to my airbrush and darken up the edges of the droid, especially where it was damaged, to give me a bit of, I don't know, burn marks. Okay, the finish line is near. I used more wire to attach the head to the PVC collarbone, and I'm adding a bit of rust. Now to hang this for final assembly and weathering. I'm adding a bit more rust to try and add detail that ties the head and the chest together. I will add some corrugated wire tubing. I also have some old tube light bulbs that came from that same cordboard, and I will use those as eyes. I also have some old tube light bulbs from the cordboard, and I will use that as eyes. Ooh, maybe one dangling out, and weather those. And I added another piece of my greebly hoard pile to the inside of the head to add a little more interest. I'm just staring at it now, waiting to see if it yells at me to add anything else. And I think that might be it. Alright, I am calling my custom damaged droid light bust finished. I really hope you liked this video, and if you did, please subscribe and tell a friend about it. I'll be creating another droid light that I will give away on my Patreon page, so if you haven't yet signed up over there, I would appreciate it. But I really hope you liked this droid, and if you didn't, just keep it to yourself, and we'll see you next time as we try to finish something.
So this this is just going to be bonus footage because I know nobody wanted me to dig all of these holes, but 29 3-foot holes dug around the arena, trying to pull the truck out of the pasture. It got stuck in the grass, and when I was trying to get it unstuck from the grass, I was trying to shove some boards underneath the tires so that it could get some traction and not spin on the wet grass. And I admit I was frustrated, I was getting angry, and there may or may not have been some swear words that were thrown around very loudly, so much so that the dog was hiding. But as I'm trying to wedge that board under the tire so that I could get it some traction, I couldn't do it with my hand because my hands were cold, and so I looked into the back of the truck and there was a crowbar back there. I'm sure you see where this is going, but I try and hit that board with the crowbar, and I had some adrenaline running, and I was swinging it pretty hard, and I missed the board. I hit myself in the shin with the crowbar. Anyway, I just thought I would throw that as a little bonus of my stupidity at the end of the video, and that's what my shin looks like, and I'm having a great time. Thanks for watching, everybody.